When someone throws thorns in your path, life has a way of turning them into a crown on your head. That's the balance most people never understand. The same energy they use to destroy you becomes the fuel that lifts you. The universe doesn't lose track, it simply rearranges. Every insult, every setup, every silent wish for your downfall becomes a brick in the road that leads you higher. That's the law of balance, not faith, not luck, just pure cause and effect written into the fabric of everything. They laughed while setting the traps, convinced you'd stumble. They didn't realize that when they dig for you, they're really digging their own fall. You see, the world doesn't reward cruelty for long. It folds it back on itself. The critics, the whisperers, the jealous, they don't escape the recoil. The same stones they threw now circle back, heavier than before, because what you put out always finds its way home. You were never the victim of their plan. You were the proof of their failure. You didn't just survive the sabotage, they unknowingly scripted your rise. That's the irony life loves. Those who tried to dim your light end up blinded by your glow. So if you've ever walked through betrayal and came out brighter, this message is yours. Hit that like button, subscribe, and step fully into your power. Because when you're chosen, your silence becomes thunder, your growth becomes their lesson, and your success, their haunting echo that never fades. You're about to see why your calm shook the room harder than any outburst ever could. What happened wasn't just survival, it was transformation. The way you handled that disgusting situation is about to flip everything in your favor. Your composure became your crown, and now the same people who tried to break you can't stop watching. Before we go deeper into this truth that will change how you see yourself forever, take a second and lock in with us. Hit that like button, subscribe to join the circle of real ones rising, and drop a 99 in the comments to seal your energy in. If you've ever been the one who stayed silent while the world tested your patience, this message was crafted for you. Stay right here, because what comes next will make every moment you held your peace finally make sense. Let's get started. Number 1. Don't throw hands with dirt. Build higher ground and let them suffocate in their own dust. When chaos comes knocking, most people panic, but not you. You moved like someone who already knew the storm couldn't touch them. While others were throwing shade and setting traps, you stood there in silence, watching their noise crumble under its own weight. That's what they never expected. Stillness sharper than any comeback. Grace in the middle of a war zone. You didn't just survive that disgusting situation. You redefined what control looks like when everything around you is losing it. They wanted a reaction, a crack, a scream, a collapse, anything to prove their lies were working. But what they got instead was elegance under fire. You taught them the most painful lesson. The loudest one in the room isn't the strongest, it's the most desperate. You gave them nothing to feed on, no meltdown, no scandal, just silence so steady it rattled every rumor. That kind of composure isn't born overnight. It's built through scars, through nights where your chest felt like it would cave in, through walking away from people you once defended. But you didn't let that break you. You didn't become bitter. You became bulletproof. Now the same ones who whispered your name with venom are choking on your calm. They can't admit it out loud, but they're impressed, haunted even, because deep down they know they would have folded where you stood tall. They called it weakness when you stayed silent, but now they see it for what it was: discipline, strategy, power disguised as peace. That's something imitation can't touch, because anyone can clap back, but not everyone can clap up, rise above the dirt, and still come out clean. And the irony? They're trying to rewrite history now, acting like they never said what they said, never pushed the buttons they pushed. Some pretend they supported you, others stay quiet, hoping you don't remember their part in the chaos. but you do, and you don't need revenge. You already won. The respect they tried to steal is circling back, not through sympathy, but through recognition. People saw how you handled it, the restraint, the dignity, the refusal to get dirty even when surrounded by filth. That's what's echoing now. That's why the room feels different when your name comes up. This isn't about one ugly situation. It's about every single moment you were tested. The betrayal, the laughter behind your back, the silence from those who claimed to care. You faced all that without losing your softness, without letting bitterness carve you hollow. You didn't become what they were. You became better. That's what unsettles them. The realization that you didn't just outlast the storm, you outclassed it. And now, as the dust clears, your calm is the story. Your restraint is the lesson. Your growth is the headline. You didn't just keep your peace, you turned it into proof that power doesn't shout, it simply stands. Number 2. Stop climbing fake ladders. Rise through truth so pure it blinds the ones who cheated. They climbed with noise. You rose with truth. That's the difference between them and the chosen ones. They hustled for attention, pulling strings, whispering in rooms you never needed to enter. They played politics while you built principles, and now their fake ladders are collapsing because anything built on lies eventually bends under its own weight. You didn't rush, you didn't beg for shortcuts. You trusted time, trusted growth, trusted the quiet grind that doesn't need applause to prove it's real. That's what blinds them now, not your success, but the way you earned it. Every time you walked away from gossip, every time you said no to compromise, every time you chose integrity over image, you were stacking invisible bricks. While they decorated their illusions, you were building something unshakable. And now that it's solid, they can't touch it, can't copy it, can't fake it. You didn't just climb, you ascended. There's a difference. Climbing is desperate. Ascending is deliberate. They wanted to rise fast, so they sold honesty for approval. But when the lights dimmed, all they had left were stories. You, on the other hand, became the story. You moved so clean that the dirt they threw only made your shine more obvious. That's what terrifies them. Purity they can't manipulate. Now they're standing in the glare of your truth, eyes burning, pretending not to see what everyone else does. But the truth doesn't need permission to shine. It just does. And the more you stand in it, the more their illusions disintegrate. You didn't need their ladder. You built wings out of what they called weakness, patience, humility, and self-control. That's why they're impressed, but won't admit it. Because deep down, they know real power never climbs, it rises. Number 3. Don't fear the flames. Walk through the fire so clean it burns their lies instead of you. When the fire came for you, they thought it would finish you. They wanted to watch you panic, melt, and lose the version of yourself they could no longer control. But the chosen ones don't burn, they refine. You didn't run from the heat, you faced it head on. Every spark they threw at you became light for your path. Every rumor, every cruel whisper, every fake smile disguised as concern, it all added fuel. They wanted to see you consumed, but instead you walked through the flames so pure that their lies couldn't stick. The fire didn't destroy you, it disinfected everything around you. People don't realize that sometimes the only way out of the storm is through it. You didn't beg for rescue. You became the rescue. You kept moving with steady eyes and a steady heart, while others would have turned to ash. And now, look at the aftermath. Their noise is gone, their masks melted, their fake confidence exposed. Meanwhile, you came out sharper, cleaner, untouchable. That's what real strength looks like, not avoiding the fire, but mastering it. Anyone can stay calm when the air is cool. Only the chosen stand tall when it burns. You didn't just survive the chaos, you redirected it. You turned destruction into direction. Now every ember that was meant to scar you glows under your feet like a red carpet to your next level. That's why they stare. That's why they whisper. Because no one understands how you walked through hell and came out scented like victory. You didn't fear the flames. You let them reveal your truth. And now the very fire meant to end you kneels quietly at your strength. Number 4. Don't dodge the setup. Flip it into a stage and make their trap your grand entrance. They thought they built the perfect setup. Whispers behind doors, fake smiles in plain sight, traps hidden under praise. They wanted your reaction to be their proof, your fall to be their entertainment. But what they didn't understand is that a chosen one doesn't trip over setups. They turn them into stages. When they dug the pit, you used their dirt to build steps. When they threw shade, you stood taller and made the light hit harder. Every move they made to humiliate you became an unintentional spotlight, revealing their intentions while sharpening your edge. That's what they'll never admit. Their little plan didn't destroy you. It introduced you. You didn't run from the chaos. You walked straight through it with calm precision, and in doing so, you flipped the entire scene. The same people who wanted to laugh at your downfall are now forced to watch your rise. That's how poetic balance works. They handed you a disaster, and you turned it into design. Their manipulation became your motivation. Their betrayal became your branding. Their gossip became your growth. The crowd they gathered to see you break. Now they're the audience to your power. That's the thing about being chosen. Pressure doesn't crush you. It carves you. You knew what they didn't. Exposure isn't always bad when truth is on your side. You used every shove, every rumor, every staged moment to reveal something stronger, your control. And now, the very stage they built to watch you collapse has your name written across it in bold. They wanted a downfall, but you gave them a debut. That's the difference between them and you. They play for drama, you play for destiny. Number 5. Quit asking to be seen. Move in silence until your presence forces the whole room to notice. When you're built different, you stop chasing eyes. You let silence do the talking. Real power doesn't beg to be seen. It forces attention through presence alone. Chosen one, that's your gift. You move without announcement, and still every room feels the shift when you walk in. The loud ones don't scare you anymore. They reveal themselves by the noise they make. You've learned that those who truly carry weight don't need to prove it. You've seen it, how they perform, how they exaggerate, how they mistake visibility for value. But your stillness? It speaks louder than their applause ever could. You didn't need to shout to be respected. You built momentum quietly, stacking wins where no one was looking, and now your results are too loud to ignore. The same people who overlooked you are glancing sideways, wondering when your name became unavoidable. That's the irony. They thought silence meant invisibility, not realizing silence is strategy. While they wasted time seeking validation, you were sharpening your edge, aligning your focus, and building a foundation so strong that even your shadow commands attention. You see, the chosen ones don't chase the spotlight. The spotlight learns to follow them. Every move you make leaves a ripple that exposes the fakes trying to keep up. They whisper your name now, not out of support, but because they can't figure out how you became unshakable without ever announcing your next step. Let them wonder, let them study, let them talk. You've already proven that true dominance doesn't arrive with a bang, it arrives with presence. Move in silence, chosen one, until the whole room feels your energy before they even hear your name. Number 6. Don't wrestle with chaos, starve it and watch the noise collapse without your energy. When chaos calls your name, don't answer. That's the trap. They want your reaction, not your response. They thrive on noise, on pulling you into their storm just to watch you spin. But you, chosen one, you've learned the art of starving what wants to feed on you. You don't argue with clowns and you don't debate with darkness. You let it run out of oxygen while you breathe calm. Because chaos can't survive where attention doesn't live. They wanted your outrage. They wanted to see you break your own peace, shout, panic, explain yourself into exhaustion. That's how they win, not by being right, but by draining your energy. But when you refused to wrestle with it, when you stood still and silent, something powerful happened. The noise started to choke on itself. The rumors lost rhythm. The drama burned out, and the same people who came to watch you fall ended up witnessing your rise. That's the hidden weapon of the chosen ones, not fury, but focus. You didn't just ignore them, you denied them fuel. You starved the circus, and the whole tent came down. Now they're scrambling for new targets, confused that their chaos didn't move you. You made them realize that without your energy, their story has no plot, their game has no audience, their lies have no echo. Starving chaos isn't weakness, it's mastery. It's what happens when you understand that silence is strategy, not surrender. The moment you stop feeding dysfunction, it dies in the dark, and you stay radiant. That's why they're impressed. Not because you fought harder, but because you didn't have to. You let peace do the fighting, and it won beautifully. Number 7. Don't match their madness. Stay still long enough for their own fire to turn against them. When they tried to drag you into their chaos, you didn't take the bait. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't argue. You didn't beg to be understood. You just stood still, unshaken, while their own fire started to eat them alive. That's what separates a chosen one from the rest. Anyone can react. Anyone can swing back when pushed. But it takes someone rare to let the storm burn itself out without moving a muscle. You didn't match their madness. You mastered it by refusing to join it. They wanted to see you crumble, to pull you into their emotional fire so they could point and say, "See? They're just like us," but your silence ruined the script. The moment you chose peace over pettiness, their plans started to collapse. Because madness feeds on energy, and you starved it. They kept throwing sparks your way, but without your reaction, the fire had nowhere to go but back to its source. You made them burn in the very flames they lit for you. That's poetic justice without saying a single word. Now, when your name comes up, they flinch. They remember how their chaos failed to shake you. That calm you held, that's what haunts them. Because deep down, they know they would have exploded. They know they couldn't have handled what you did with that kind of grace. And that realization eats at them every time they see you still standing, still glowing, untouched. Chosen one, understand this. Not every attack deserves a response. Some fires only exist to test if you've learned to rise above smoke. And you did. You didn't fight for peace, you became it. And now their noise fades while your silence echoes louder than any scream ever could. Number 8. Don't chase exposure. Stand so real that every fake reflection around you cracks. When the noise gets loud, when the spotlight burns fake too bright, that's when the real ones separate themselves. Chosen one, this part is about you. The one who never begged for validation, never chased applause, never twisted truth just to be seen. While they scrambled to be noticed, you stood so grounded in your authenticity that the entire room shifted. You didn't need exposure, you became the mirror. And when you showed up real, every fake reflection around you started to crack. They built their image out of illusions, filters, gossip, and performance. They depended on attention to breathe, and when you didn't give it, they suffocated. Because here's the truth: nothing haunts a pretender more than someone who doesn't need to pretend. Your silence exposed them. Your calm revealed their chaos. Your honesty tore through their carefully built facade like sunlight through thin glass. And the best part? You didn't have to lift a finger. The universe handled that exposure for you. Now they watch you from a distance, whispering your name with that mix of envy and confusion. How does someone so quiet command this much attention? How does someone who never fakes it become the one everyone respects? Because when you stand in truth, you don't need a stage. The world makes one for you. You didn't compete for light. You became it. You didn't chase recognition. You earned it without noise. Chosen one, that's your power. Real doesn't rush. Real doesn't beg. Real stands. And in a world full of masks, you became the mirror that forced them to see what they really are. That's not luck. That's alignment. And nothing exposes a lie faster than your truth, standing tall, untouched, and undeniable. Number 9. Don't play for the crowd. Move like every step is being judged by the universe itself. Chosen one, listen closely. The crowd cheers today and disappears tomorrow. Their opinions shift with the wind. Their loyalty bends to convenience. But you don't move for applause. You move for alignment. Every step you take, every choice you make, carries a vibration that echoes far beyond what anyone can see. That's why your path feels heavier, why your mistakes cost more, and your victories hit deeper. You're not being watched for entertainment. You're being measured for mastery. While they scramble to perform, you operate with precision. You understand something they don't, that real power doesn't come from being seen. It comes from being solid when no one's watching. You walk like the ground itself is recording every footprint, and it is. Every decision becomes your legacy. Every restraint becomes your armor. Every act of integrity becomes a silent signature of who you are becoming. That's why even your silence shakes rooms, because truth carries weight, even when unspoken. They mock your patience, your discipline, your quiet consistency. But that's only because they don't understand what accountability to a higher standard looks like. They're chasing validation. You're collecting alignment. You don't need the spotlight when your character is already glowing, and soon they'll realize your calm was never weakness, it was control. Your slowness wasn't hesitation, it was accuracy. So move like every step matters, because it does. The universe remembers precision. The world forgets noise. Keep walking like your path is sacred, because it is. You're not just playing the game, you're rewriting it through grace, through focus, through discipline. That's what makes you the chosen one. Not the attention you get, but the accountability you live by when no one is clapping. Number 10. Don't run from the breaking point. Rebuild inside it and make your scars your structure. When most people hit their breaking point, they shatter. But not you. You're the kind who doesn't run from the cracks. You build within them. Every fracture in your life became a framework. Every scar turned into structure. That's the difference between the broken and the chosen. Where others see an ending, you see blueprints. You don't just survive the pressure, you reshape it, mold it, and come out sharper. That's what's confusing everyone watching. They thought the pain would destroy you, but all it did was refine your design. When that disgusting situation tried to break you, it didn't realize it was building you. Pressure never destroys what's real, it only exposes it. And when everything around you fell apart, you didn't scramble for pieces. You learned how to build something stronger from what remained. That's mastery. That's evolution in motion. People who thought you were done are now staring speechless, trying to understand how someone they expected to collapse walked out glowing with new armor. They can't see the process, only the result. But that's what makes it powerful. They don't realize the nights you rebuilt yourself in silence, brick by brick, emotion by emotion. They don't know how much strength it takes to hold your composure when the world's crumbling. But that's why you're chosen, because you didn't just heal, you redesigned your core. Your scars don't tell a story of pain anymore. They tell a story of creation. Remember, this destruction is never the end for those who know how to rebuild. You didn't just pass the test. You built a whole new version of yourself from the ashes. You are the blueprint now. The breaking point wasn't your fall, it was your foundation. Number 11. Don't waste breath on lies. Time will do the cleanup while truth crowns you in silence. They threw lies like stones, hoping one would hit hard enough to crack your peace. But you didn't chase after every rumor. You didn't waste a single breath trying to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You knew better, because truth doesn't need a defense, it just needs time. While they scrambled to build a false story, you stayed grounded, letting the dust of deception settle on its own. And when it did, look what happened. The lies began to rot, and the air cleared around your name without you lifting a finger. That's what separates the chosen ones from the crowd. Anyone can fight fire with fire, but you let their flames burn themselves out. You understood that time is the great cleaner. It wipes away the stains of falsehood while polishing the truth till it shines. Every whisper that once carried your name is now heavy with regret. The same mouths that spread gossip can't even speak your name without tasting guilt. That's karma's quiet masterpiece. No noise, no battle, just exposure through patience. You see, the truth doesn't rush. It moves like water, carving through stone slowly, but with purpose. While they were running from their own shadows, you stood still in yours, unbothered, unshaken, unstoppable. And that stillness became your weapon. You let the universe reveal what it needed to, and when it did, the liars fell silent. That's how you win wars you never even joined. Now, people look at you differently. They see strength that doesn't shout and confidence that doesn't need validation. You didn't fight back, you outlasted. And in the end, every false story became free advertising for your resilience. The truth crowned you quietly, and that silence, that's your victory anthem. Number 12. Don't perform for people who doubted you. Walk off their stage and make your piece the spotlight. When they built that stage for you, it wasn't to celebrate you, it was to corner you. They wanted a reaction, a scene, a story they could twist. Every light pointed at you was meant to expose your weakness, not your worth. But you're not an actor in their drama. You're the director of your own narrative. So you did the most powerful thing anyone could do. You walked off. No curtain call, no apology, just quiet power that made the whole room feel small. That's what they'll never admit. You didn't lose the stage, you made it irrelevant. While they performed for applause, you built peace in silence. They needed the crowd's validation. You needed none. They faked strength to hide insecurity. You stood still and made the truth impossible to ignore. And now, every time your name is mentioned, the same people who mocked your calm can't stop replaying how you carried yourself when they tried to provoke you. They can act, but energy doesn't lie. The audience saw the difference. One side desperate to prove something, the other already proven. You became the standard without even trying. You didn't need the spotlight, it followed you. You didn't chase attention, you became the attention. Because real ones don't perform, they exist. And existence that unbothered, that self-assured, it's magnetic. Chosen one, understand this. Peace is louder than applause. The calm you carry now is your crown. When you refused to dance to their noise, you shifted the entire frequency of the room. You left their stage, and somehow every light stayed on you. That's the irony of truth. You don't have to fight for recognition when your silence already commands it. And that's the full circle, chosen one. The moment where silence turned into strength and every attempt to break you became proof of your power. You didn't just handle that disgusting situation. You rewrote what grace under pressure really looks like. Remember, your calm isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's legacy. It's the reason they're still talking. If this message hit something deep inside you, don't scroll away. Hit that like, subscribe to join the circle of real ones rising, drop 99 in the comments to lock in your energy, and share this with someone who needs to remember their worth.